Hi, Assalamualaikum. I am Amira Shafiqah Binti Azman. I am going to present about my system, breast milk donation portal, and my supervisor is Dr. Zamia. Okay, so these are the presentation outlines. Okay, for introduction, the picture in the center you see is breastfeeding mother. So breastfeeding mothers, they often face challenges to make sure that their babies get the nutrition from the breast milk. And as we all know, health experts around the world recommend breast milk as the best nutrition for newborns and infants. However, some mothers produce more milk than their baby requires, as you can see in one of the photo, and some mothers do not produce enough breast milk, as in the other photo. In fact, some mothers are unable to breastfeed at all due to their medical condition. So mothers who do not produce enough breast milk or cannot breastfeed, they will look for breast milk donor for their baby, or as we call it, ibu susuan. While mothers with excess breast milk will look for breast milk recipient, or as we call it, anak susuan. However, due to the lack of proper channels, alternatives like Facebook groups are used to find breast milk donors and recipients. But these platforms are not effective because the information is unorganized and not up to date. Okay, so these are the problem backgrounds. So the problem background are based on my observation in an online community on Facebook called Breast Milk Donation Malaysia, where the members can post about breast milk donation and requests. So the first one is difficult navigation. So currently, the only way for user to search for a particular post is by using Facebook search function, which will filter group posts that contain certain keywords. But it is difficult for users to search donation or request posts as they need to read through each post. Plus, members may write posts in their own way, so they may or may not include the location in their post. Also, the group may contain many posts unrelated to breast milk donation. So users who particularly looking for breast milk donor or recipient may have difficulty in navigating in the group page. The second one is unorganized information. So most existing platforms leverage the function in Facebook groups. So posts can be written in any way by the author. Plus, there is no separation of view between donation posts and request posts. So there is no proper organization of the donation and request information that is posted by the user. Thirdly, unresponsive donor or recipient. So this is because the author need to manually update the post description once the donation process is complete. And Facebook groups does not have the specific function to manage the donation or request status. And finally, outdated status of donation or request. So the current way of expressing an interest in one's post is by adding comment to the post or contacting the author directly. However, it does not guarantee that the member will receive any feedback from the author because it depends entirely on the author's responsiveness. So this hugely affect the users, especially those who are in need of breast milk donation urgently. Next is the project aim. So this project is aimed to develop a web-based system named Breast Milk Donation Portal to ease the breast milk donor and recipient to find each other, to send requests and offer, and to manage the information of breast milk donation. There are three project objectives. The first one is to study the current problems and identify users' need for the development of the system. Secondly, to design a system that fits with the need of breast milk donor and recipient. Thirdly, to develop and test the system based on the requirements that are outlined. So next is the project scopes. So the first one is coverage of the system is within Malaysia. Secondly, user of the system are breast milk donor and recipient. Thirdly, requirements are obtained from donation requests in breast milk donation Malaysia community. And finally, the system can be accessed via web browser on all devices. Next is the literature review. So for current system analysis, I have studied several online communities that provide alternative platforms for their members to broadcast breast milk donation and requests. So the first one is Happy Breastfeeding Malaysia. So it is a private group on Facebook created in 2018 as a breastfeeding support group for Malaysian mothers. So it provides a platform for mothers to look for breast milk donor and recipient through their album named Ibu Anak Susuan. Next is the Breastfeeding Advocates Network, TBAN. So members may write a post to request or donate breast milk. As you can see here, this is one of the sample requests. A member is looking for a breast milk donation for her newborn. So this is an online community on Facebook that supports mothers in their breastfeeding journey. However, this group does not only focus on breast milk donation, so there are many other posts unrelated to breastfeeding. So it is not an effective platform to be used as a place for breast milk donor and recipient to find each other. Next is the comparison. So based on the study and analysis on the two existing platforms, it is found that they have few useful functions, but they lack functions that specifically cater for breast milk donation and requests. So there are several new functions that you see in the below here are introduced to the proposed system to overcome the shortcomings of the existing platforms. So next are the technologies. So these are some of the technologies used in the development of the project. So for the programming language, Java is used, and Eclipse is used as the IDE, and Bootstrap is used as the front-end framework. So next is the methodology. So for this project, we use Agile. So Agile approach produce software in an ongoing release cycle, as you see in the photo here. And each cycle featuring a small incremental changes from the previous release. So some of the benefits of adopting Agile methodology include the flexibility of design, early fault detection, and incremental delivery. So that's why this method is chosen as a suitable method for this project. The next, Scrum. So among Agile method, there are a few approaches under the Agile methodology. So Scrum is chosen as the approach to develop this system. So Scrum is selected as the methodology for this project because it offers flexibility and adaptability because it quickly reacts to changes. And plus, Scrum provides more control and reduced risk to the projects. So as you can see here, there are pre-game phase, which include the planning and architecture design phase, and then the development phase, where the development of the system takes place, and there is the post-game phase that contains the closure of the release. So in this post-game phase, the system is ready for the release, and the phase gets the final product ready prior to the production implementation. So there are a number of Scrum events that occur throughout each sprint. So these are the events. So firstly, sprint planning. Sprint planning initiate the sprint by laying out the work to be performed for the sprint. Next, daily scrum. It is a 15 minutes meeting among the development team to develop a plan and coordinate activities for the day. Next, the sprint review, also known as the sprint demo. This is where all work completed during the sprint can be showcased to the stakeholders. Lastly, sprint retrospective. It is a discussion that occurs before the new sprint planning start and after the current sprint review is over. So next is the requirement analysis and design. So the proposed system contains 4 modules: user management module, post module, offer and request module, and donation module. So during this phase, several kind of UML diagram are used, such as use case diagram, activity diagram, to describe the system scope and to represent the flow from one activity to another activity. So this is the main use case diagram for the system. As you can see here, the use case are organized into different modules based on the functionalities. So there are 4 modules, as I mentioned before, and there are 2 actors, which are the donor and recipient. Okay, so this is one of the activity diagram for one of the main function, which is a send request. So in this diagram, there are the recipient lane, the system, and the donor. So this is the control flow for this particular function. Next is the system design. So Spring MVC is used as the framework for this project. So as you can see here, there is a clear separation of roles between controller, model object, dispatcher servlet, and handler mapping. So the process is like this. So when the user performs any interaction with the system, the client browser will send a HTTP request to the front controller. So it will then communicate with the viewer and controller to process the business logic. Then the view component display the model data to the user. Then the controller act as a bridge between the user and the system. After that, the controller will pass the information to the service layer, which will then be passed to the DAO layer, data access object layer. Finally, the data will be sent to the database for data processing. So this is the overall system design for breast milk donation portal. So this is the database design. So 4 entities are created, which are the donation request, host entity, user entity, and child entity. Okay, so this is some of the design of the interface, the mockup design. First one is the home page, just some of the mockup design that we have come up with. This is a search post, the view donation post. Okay, next is the system implementation and testing. So for the system implementation phase, this phase involves the process of programming, compiling, and deploying the system final package to the production environment so that the system can be accessed by the end user. So for the implementation, this is the technology stack that have been used for the development of this project. So for the front end, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript are used, and also Ajax and jQuery are used to send the data to the controller and get the HTTP request. And then for the backend, Java is used and the MySQL is used for the database. Okay, next is this is the actual interface of the system in the production environment. So just want to show you the one of the pages of the main function, which is the search post. And then next is the coding. So this is the coding for this page for search post. So this is some of the coding part, just the controller part. But in reality, actually, we also have the service layer and other layer, the model layer. So this is just some of the codes for search post function. So next, for testing. So user acceptance testing, UAT, has been conducted to ensure that the system satisfies the user's requirement based on its functionality. So user has tested the system based on given test script, as you can see here. These are just some of the test script that is given to the tester. So based on the test script, the negative testing is also conducted to make sure that the system can handle the unwanted input and user behavior. So at the end of this phase, it is found that all the test results are successful and system functionality work as expected. Next is a conclusion. So these are some of the accomplishments that we have done in PSM2. So system development and implementation phase is complete and the result of UAT is successful. So at the end of this phase, it is determined that the system works as expected according to the user requirement. Next is a suggestion for future improvement. So the first one is to provide multiple language. So for now, the system only provides English language, but due to the multicultural society in Malaysia, some users may prefer other languages like Malay or Chinese. So by providing this extra feature, it is easier for users to familiarize and understand the system based on their native language. Lastly, the suggestion for future improvement is to add a new module to ease the user in applying for My Rada'ah card. So actually, My Rada'ah is a campaign done by the Jabatan Agama Islam Selangor JAIS to keep track of Ibu Susuan and Anak Susuan due to the lineage status in Islamic law. So because this campaign is related to breast milk donation, so it is suitable to be integrated into the existing system of breast milk donation portal. Maybe in the future to become as one of the enhancement. Okay, so that's all. Thank you.